Okay. Thank you, Daniel, for the response. Okay, so here are some questions that I would like you to ask. Ask yourself, what challenges are you currently facing right now with your trading? So if you're currently trading, what challenges are you currently facing right at this point in time? What challenges are you currently facing right now with your trading? Number two, what would you like to learn or get out from this workshop or this class? Number three, will you be willing to play full out in this workshop so you can get something out of it? I know that time is very valuable. Your time and my time, and in order for you to be here alone, that's already a commitment right there, meaning that you're willing to learn something, maybe perhaps to improve part of your process, to be consistent, to make money, and to be consistent more profitably. Okay, how's that? Daniel, can you hear me now more? Is it clear? Okay, so 3 questions. What challenges are you currently facing right now with your trading? What would you like to learn or get out from this workshop? And will you be willing to play full out in this workshop? And here's simply our quick agenda or agendas. Simply the introductions, those questions right there. A little bit about myself, so you at least also can relate and why traders lose. And we're going to go through the topic of 5 really simple steps how to improve your trading results. It's mainly more a process. Technical analysis is part of the process. And if you have any question and answers, then we'll go through them. So I'll give you guys a couple, just about another minute to write down your answers based on those questions. Okay, so Daniel, what challenges are you currently facing at this point in time with your trading? What challenges are you currently facing at this point in time? What challenges are you facing at this point in time, Daniel? Okay, signals for buying or selling. Okay, great. Chris, if you're there, or Jim, if you guys are there, what challenges are you currently facing at this point in time? Okay, Daniel, thank you for being honest. Yeah, signals for buying and selling. Okay, no problem. Just a little bit about myself. I actually moved from Australia to the US in 2007. I started trading in 1996. So my background is physics and mathematics, likewise for computer science and mathematics. I used to be a database administrator, graduated in 93, and then did another course from 93 to 96 just to get a double degree back in Melbourne, Victoria University. And I worked for the corporate world from 96 till 2002. Started trading in 96, as like for everybody else. Started from a newspaper to going to seminars. I've never really learned how to trade by myself. I am that type of person. I started actually in real estate as well, purchasing properties in real estate since 98, all the way to actually even up to now. But nevertheless, I trade because I believe trading is the best business ever. It's one of the only business that I could think of that has very low overheads, All you need is a computer, internet, a really good trading strategy. It's mainly more a process and the consistency. Basically, the question is, how can you really be consistent? So it involves a lot of what we'll be discussing here today. Trading strategy, not a problem, Daniel. Signals, definitely that's not a problem. What the major issue actually we're going to discuss a little bit more is about the psychology component. So I'm based here, like I said, in Cupertino, based in Silicon Valley, San Francisco. And I mainly focus, when I teach people how to trade, or a group of students, or in general, is I don't teach them how to make money, because that's the easy part. It is mainly I teach the process on how to be a consistent, profitable trader. And I'm going to go through it with you in terms of the 5 simple steps to really be consistent. It's unique. The education industry is actually very small here in the US. Once a year, I bring private clients to the Chicago Board of Auction and Exchange. And the reason why I do that is it's important for the student to see behind the scenes what's really happening in terms of buying and selling. So if I say, for example, everything you see fit here is a 2-dimensional chart, but the question is, how does it really operate behind it? The CME, unfortunately, is already closed due to everything all being computerized. So aside from the New York Stock Exchange, is actually pretty tough to get into NYSE, because after what happened in 2009 and also the 9/11 issue, they really toughened everything up. But nevertheless, by looking through, and you still need to know somebody in order to get to the trading floor. So as long as there's still open outcry, there's still going to be people in there. So there's the S&P pit and the VIX pit. Since we look at the overall global economy, I trade the currency markets because it's the easiest of them all. And I teach people when I teach people how to trade properly, I use Forex as a vehicle for learning. But the idea is simply for the student to be adaptable with everything, to trade from currencies all the way to bonds. That is the major goal. And hence we look at the S&P, we look at the VIX, we look at the Dow, we look at the dollar index, we look at everything from top to bottom, basically, in terms of the macro fundamentals. Actually, this was a topic that I discussed last week, the importance of macro fundamentals. So, but nevertheless, my trading style basically in the past was just based on a system. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't work that way, because a system is just a small portion in terms of the bigger aspect, in terms to be consistent. Okay, and hence, well, part of our technique is mainly being an athlete. I believe there's a process. If you want to be in a world-class level, it doesn't matter which sport that you're going to do. Oh yeah, highly recommend. This is one of the books, actually, it's a must for our students to read. It's called Relentless by Tim Grover. It is a phenomenal book. Tim Grover is a personal trainer for Michael Jordan, and expanded basically from there all the way to Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade, and now with some elite athletes. So there's specific characteristics of people, call it the elite, and there's certain character that they do have. In trading, in my opinion, you need to have certain character. So hence why we focus on the quality. It's not the quantity of the amount of trades that you do. It's not the amount of quantity of students that we teach. It's the quality. People who want to be taught, then I will teach them. If they have the character, then they have the motivation and to be committed to learn how to trade, then I will give 200% of my time to teach them, even if it's a self-learning environment. With self-learning, and I totally understand, a lot of people work, still also have a lot of family, and now they also have kids. I totally understand. And hence, we have a self-learning program, but at the same time, though, it is imperative for the student to come in to the live trading classes when it's available, and to the support classes, because they need that. Practice it's a viable component if you really want to be consistent or you want to make money in the marketplace. Hence, we focus a lot on discipline, integrity, and mainly excellence. It's not about perfectionism because we don't win all the time. I believe in the learning process that if you are winning really, really quickly, you won't learn because you already are a winner. I mean, you already won, so there's nothing to learn from there. Then what's the whole point of learning? Okay, so those are the things that the process that we discuss. We are a small trading education. On the other hand, we've won basically in the finals is because of what we give out to the community, especially to the trading community. It is not like, I don't really want to bag others because I'm not that type of person. But other education out there, it's not for us, it's not about the numbers. What we focus on is the numbers of people who wants to be consistent. That's our job. That is my job. Okay, so hence, I'm a peak performance trader coach. At the end of the day, it's all about performance. The question is, how can you perform at a state of where everything is happening? Like next Wednesday, for example, it happens once in a blue moon. And when that happens, then we got to be there. We have to take action. We have the FOMC, and it's an opportunity to move through, right? So in my opinion, to have those opportunities, you need to be part of it in order to make money. Like 2008, like what happened last month. We already forecasted, however, we weren't part of the expectation not to drop so much, like 1,200 points in a day, but each for us there's the bonus. But we already looked at it. We already knew that it's going to drop because there's also certain tips out there that by law institutions have to give out basically their trades, and we look at those. Okay, so we follow the big whale. We don't go within the crowd. The analogy that I always give to people who are really getting to trading is simply this. Just imagine there's this whale, and when they're hungry, basically all of a sudden when they're hungry, they search for food. But for them, since they're big, they don't really want to produce enough energy or a lot of energy. So when a bunch of sardines, a bunch of fishes get clumped up all together, all they do is to open their big mouth and fishes don't even realize they're being eaten. You want to make money in the marketplace? Do not be part of this. Do not be part of the retail traders. If you're a retail trader, the chances that you're not going to make any money is highly probable. Who you want to be is the little fish next to that big whale. You know, the cleaners, they call them the cleaners. They clean whatever the big whale basically eats. So if the whale goes up, you go up with them. Goes sideways, you go sideways with them. It goes down, you go down with them. This, Daniel, is where how you would be able, it's not about signals, to be honest. It's about reading objectively what the market is actually telling you. Signals, patterns, they're all subjective. Subjectivity creates a lot of problems. When you are in a subjective state, it's mainly more now about your feeling, your opinion. When your opinion comes into play, you're screwed, basically. So to be objective is by looking at the markets the way they are. What is the market really telling you? What are institutions doing? If they're buying, you got to buy. If they're selling, you got to sell. Trading is a zero-sum game. One has to win, one has to lose. The house will always win whether you like it or not. So if you really want to make money, is you to be outside to observe where these guys are going, not here. And then you place a bet based on where they're going. Then you have the bigger odds. That's how you get the bigger probability. Everything is all about numbers. It doesn't lie. And hence why when we are trading, this is my real account. Notice how the arrows right there are your buy signals. One of them already got basically taken. So if I go through activity, See there, take profit at 106.35. And then it was purchased at 106.02, 106.35. 106.02 was somewhere here. First target point has been taken. We're now, I'm just waiting for target number 2, target number 3. All our trades, or my process, I don't scalp, I don't day trade. And the reason, because it's been proven that day traders don't make any money. If you Google day trading, and if you do your work, oh, by the way, what is your email address? I will email you a soft copy of my book. I did a lot of research, published it in 2012. It will definitely help you out with your trading. And as a free gift for you coming in, I'm definitely going to email you that. In the process of writing another one, it's mainly more about the technical analysis component, something that's totally different compared to the books that you do read. It's mainly to give more the reader what's really happening behind technical analysis. How can you really be objective when you're trading? That's basically the things that we do teach, is to be objective. Stop loss are automatically put into place. Once it reaches to a certain price, then what we'll do is we trail the stop to minimize the risk. My rule is that once it reaches about 100 pips, I put it above break even, and then now the reward is actually infinite, while the risk is 0. Okay, so those are our strategies that we play or put into place. As a teacher, as a trader, I also basically manage money. On average, we make between 5 to 10%, depending on the month. Good months are 20 to 30%. And on average, in my personal accounts, I make between 100 to 300% basically a year. Each and every year, it actually grows. Why? Because as a teacher, I see things about myself. I learn more about the markets itself. These are everything that we do teach. Our methodologies are being back tested, not just by me, but our students, that they need to back test the methodology for at least a minimum of 3 years, just to really prove whether the methodology works in real time. Also, we do a lot of live trading because I want the student to execute, because there's no point of teaching a theory or even giving a strategy if it doesn't work. Remember that theory is theory. The question is, can it work in a real-time environment where can you really make money? So we don't believe in demo trading. Yes, on the beginner level, it has to be demo because the person has to get familiarized with the methodology itself, the foundation. To build a foundation, they need to be aware about the car that they're driving. And then when they get to the intermediate, when they're actually learning the nitty-gritty in terms of the methodologies itself, then they need to trade really using real money. Like I said, I don't believe in, for me, it's like sport. You can learn how to punch 1,000 times, but the question is, how can you apply that punch in real time when another person who has 2 hands, 2 feet, and can punch you back? So the markets will punch you back. But the idea is not to fight against the markets. The idea is to be with the markets. And how can you control then as well your emotion when trading? Okay, so that's how the process, in terms of being really consistent, it is mainly about the process of learning. You cannot be the black belt if you're only a white belt. That's all. That's the best analogy that I can basically give. So I say once a year is my friend Dan. He was an institutional trader on the VIX pit and the S&P pit for 30 years, has his own basically money management, and he's the guy who brings us to the trading floor. And the guys are very lucky because they have full red carpet, and he explains what's happening in the background. And just imagine if you have basically 200 people trading on the trading floor with alpha males and alpha females, and you're not an alpha male or alpha female, you're not going to survive. That's how relentless they are. So to be relentless in trading is imperative. So my purpose is actually to give you the awareness and to notify the pitfalls of trading. I'm not here to sell you anything. It's really up to you what you really want to do afterwards. If you go through us, even better, because if you're learning from us, I will push you to your limits. And the idea is for you to make money, not to lose money. And if you're not making any money, then I'm giving my whole free time and I'm gonna basically say, hey, okay, let me give me back some of your money. Why is that really working? For me, it's about the integrity component, walk the walk, talk the talk. Can I apply what I'm teaching you in real time? And hence, that's why live trading is so important for us. Okay, so to reduce the 75-95% of retail traders that lose money from trading, that is my major purpose. So here are some of the major reasons why a lot of retail traders lose. They're not myths, they're actually facts based on experience, the amount of people I've taught over the past 15 years, and hence either they don't have a trading plan, the lack of knowledge, which is automatic when you have a lack of knowledge, when you have lack of experience and lack of skill. They will learn how to trade by themselves. So in other words, they have no mentor, no coach. I really haven't been in this game without a coach. I was just fortunate enough through networking, and I used to work with one education company the first time I moved here, because I really want to know about the industry. And the industry is very small. You go to the trading floor, you ask about certain people, and either they'll give you good feedback or negative feedback. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What matters the most is what did you learn from those people that can increase your profitability. And they're not that expensive. They're not that cheap. So I paid maybe close to $150,000 in my education, but you know what? It was worth it, because my rule is that if I invest, say if I pay $20,000 for my education, can I make that to $60,000? If I could do that, and if I could basically prove that to myself, then it's worth it. Why? Because it's also tax deduction. I'm not an accountant, but at least the education component is a deduction, because now you're dealing now with a business here to keep on ongoing education. So trading is not about, yes, can you have fun with it? Absolutely. But it is not a hobby either. Trading is a serious business that is, or can you make serious money once you have that learning process, once you are being trained to the core, then definitely money is not an option. Where the limitation of money is simply within the 6 inches between our ears. And of course, when you have a certain amount of money, it becomes easier. Okay, you trade the market to beat the market. They're the ones who actually, we call them the righteous traders, because they just want to be right, because they want to beat the market, and they have no support system. So if you see fit that you're in this category, maybe perhaps this is one of the major reasons why you are here and you want to learn. Okay, I'm not here to disrespect anybody, but it's just the way it is, that if you really want to make money, then it's time for you to change, to do something different that would work in terms of what you're doing regularly that is not working. Okay, so learning to trade is a buffet. It can be confusing because there are a lot of things. And how do I know that? Is because I've been there. I've learned how to trade all the way from Elliott wave theory even to Gantt theory. Gantt theory is phenomenal, but it goes beyond certain things, because it's also dealing now here with spiritual, with astrology and stuff. And so people who use indicators, they're all lagging indicators. And hence, there was an article given by the Wall Street Journal after the 2008. So 2011, there was an article that were given by them. Goldman Sachs has a 92.5 success rate during that time. A year ago or a year and a half ago, another article came out that now Goldman Sachs has a 97.5 success rate. Why? Because of fast computers. They have more than a picosecond in terms of news ahead out of everybody. At the end of the day, news is an important element, because without news, the market won't move, and that creates the volatility. Hence, consistency. Can we be consistent? Remember, we are not institutional traders. We are professional observers that observe the marketplace. That creates us in terms to be consistent. But the question is, what is consistency? Well, consistency is the conformity in the application of something, typically that which is necessary for the sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness. That is consistency. So we have 3 different methods. And just to show you here, I'm not here to boast, but I'm just here to show that it is possible to make money from trading. Forex market is actually the easiest to make money. Then of course, futures is also very easy. The hardest one is trading stocks. And then you have options, which is actually now a different game once again, because you're dealing here, because it's a derivative, you're dealing here with the Greeks and so forth. And those are the things that adds in more to the complexity. Is options good? Absolutely. I trade options, but I trade the most basic ones. My style of trading is very simple. I avoid complexity, because in the past I avoid complex, and I want to make it simple. And trading is actually really simple. If you go to the trading floor, you don't see charts. You only see 2 people or people in there buying or selling. It's like a big auction house, basically. Okay, so we have different strategies. It's for me, it's like also like playing cards. I have a royal flush strategy that everything is in there. Basically, guaranteed you'll make money. It's 100% probability. Of course, since it's an open deck, anything can happen. You still have that 0.000001% that you will lose. But at least I can define the probability, and I can also define the amount of risk that I'm willing to take based on the probability. So like this one being a royal flush strategy, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that goes into line. They go in hierarchy. Strategies, systems, indicators, they go in hierarchy. Unfortunately, a lot of retailers don't know that, and it's simply because no one has explained it to them why. There is a purpose to everything, from an oscillator to moving average to supply and demand. I have a trifecta. Trifecta means that it goes from first methodology to second methodology to third methodology. From a almost at manufacturing price to a wholesale price point and then a retail price point. And then once it goes to your advantage, this is how you can keep adding into your positions, averaging up, and that's how you basically make money on top. Everything is just icing on the cake. Once it reaches to a level where you're just now trailing your stop, where you have 0 risk, infinite reward. Now that is an awesome strategy. People always say you need to have a minimum of 2 to 1 reward to risk ratio. To be honest with you, it's all BS. It's not about the reward to risk ratio. It's about the probability that will create your reward to risk ratio. Now, if you have a 0 risk, then that now means that you have 0 risk, infinite rewards. That's way better, right? But it also depends as well with all the dynamics of where price is at, the location of the price, the direction of price, where the current is at. Is it to the upside, to the downside, to the sideways movement, right? So things that we have what we call a sequential transitioning system strategy. This, my friend, is like you having your own crystal ball. They go in sequence. The sequence cannot just go from, let's say, for example, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The sequence of numbers, it has to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can't go from sequence from 1 to 5. No way. It has to go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Like you're driving a car, if you're driving a manual car, you go from first gear, second gear, third, fourth. You can't go from first to fourth. You'll wreck the engine, right? Likewise in the marketplace. They go in sequence. And when that sequence starts, you're ahead out of every retail trader out there. In actual fact, you're now being with the marketplace in terms of the institutions, because you just know that they are with there, and it can actually detect. You can detect where institutions are buying and where institutions are actually selling. It's a phenomenal strategy that when I figured that out, because I had a mentor, and he said, "Hey, Ray, you did physics, right?" I said, "Yeah, check these out." And I'm like, dang. So as part of our advanced classes, we're basically the art and science of technical analysis. There's a science behind it. And everything you see fit here, actually let me go through here. See, now that the markets are closed, well, currency market is still open, but they do vibrate. And with that vibration, you go to a smaller time frame, there's a lot of speed in there, right? So see how currently it's basically stopped, because what they're doing here at this point in time, and the spread actually increases as well, is the computer is now what's doing is figuring out what would be the actual closing price, will be the spread, and anything on the orders that hasn't gone through, they'll push in. Currency markets, stock market, for example, that shuts down at what time? 4 o'clock, right? And then from there, but the institution can still trade for another 15 to 1 hour, basically from there, while retailers are no longer available or not there to trade. So, but nevertheless, they do vibrate. If there's vibration, then there's energy that creates mainly the frequency in order to oscillate, to cycle, to go up or down. I hear it quite a lot. It's impossible to buy the tops and bottoms. That's BS, because the people who say that is just they don't know what they don't know. But once you know exactly how it works, you can buy at tops and bottoms with the lowest risk with the highest probability of winning. Okay, everything is all about knowledge. Of course, it took me, I've been experiencing that 20 years. I've done more than 20,000 hours of trading, and it just becomes easier each time. Do I win all the time? Absolutely not. Why? Because of the dynamics of the markets, plus of also human emotion. As long as you have emotions, you will basically, or we as individuals will always feel that struggle. We need to be in synchronicity in order for everything basically to work, to be in harmony. Okay, so moving forward from there. Yeah, Daniel, I'll give it to you afterwards. I'll also in your email address. All right, so that's there for you. And that there, like I said, to impress upon you that it does work, that you can make money. Okay, so the important part is to have a clear picture of what you want as a trader. At the end of the day, our major job is to make money. That's the whole purpose of trading, is to make money. So there are 5 simple steps to be profitable. One is knowing your intention. Why do you really want to trade? Why do you want to be in this business? How serious are you if you want to be in this game? Are you going to do it as a hobby, as a part-time, or can you do it as a business, part-time or full-time? In my opinion, success, if you want to be successful at something, then you need to sacrifice and give up something. What are you willing to give up in order for you to be successful at trading? I was telling my students today, everything should be a priority, not priority 1, 2, or 3. Everything should be priority number 1. Priority number 1 to your trading, priority number 1 to your family, priority number 1 with your health and nutrition, priority with your work, if you have other work or other businesses. Everything should be a priority, not 1, 2, and 3. Because when you start labeling, trading will be priority number 2, the brain is so smart that it will make it a second priority. Then the brain will make a lot of excuses why not to. Why not to get up at 5 in the morning when there's a report? Why not to look at your trades when it's time to be responsible? Why not to create a plan or strategy if it's really something that you really want to do? So you have to give up something, you need to sacrifice something if you want to be successful at something. At the same time, can you do it part-time? For sure, absolutely. The number 1 killer of every person is creating excuses to justify the reason why not to do it. That's the number 1 reason. So you want to be successful, it doesn't want to do, then stop making excuses for yourself and just take action to fulfill what you really want to fulfill. Hence the intention. Intention creates goals. The mind wants goals. Unfortunately, a lot of people will just go into trading without an intent. Hence, that's why they don't know where to buy, they don't know where to sell, they don't have a good strategy because there's no intent. They might be learning a strategy, but what is the purpose of that strategy based on the intention? How will you learn it? If you learn it by yourself, you're not getting the results, and maybe perhaps it's time to change, time to do something different. If you're learning from someone who is also not giving you the same or giving you the result that you want, then why learn it from someone who does the same thing? You cannot be part, like I said, of that group of stock fishers altogether. These are the norm. You want to make money? Don't be part of the norm. Be part of how these institutions are actually doing their stuff. And it's only a few who will know what they're looking at. It's good because we, as professional traders, we need people who are in this area. Remember, it's a zero-sum game. Either someone has to win and someone has to lose. And did you know that's part of the article? 55% of retail traders succeed. That's a success rate of a retail trader. 55%. That's like doing heads or tails. For me, that's just pure gambling. If you want to be a gambler, then don't trade. Save the money, have fun, go to a casino, and at least you have fun with it. This is a serious business that is very profitable. Okay, that's why it's important to know your intention. 2, once you have defined a clear picture of what you want and why you want to trade, you will need to know what really trading is. This is a definition that one of my instructors, the first time I learned how to trade back in Australia, knowing now that I know, I don't know how they make money too over there. But nevertheless, he said it's the transference of wealth between the idiot and the well-informed. And it's so true. Do not be part of this. Be part of the well-informed. Because it is definitely a transference between one money to the other. Okay. Also, it is important to know what your beliefs are. Beliefs are things that makes true to yourself, that creates of who you are as an individual. What are your limiting beliefs that limit you to succeed in anything that you do? Whether regardless whether it be trading, business, sport, career, they are all connected, right? So like sports, it is a skill. Trading is a skill. It takes time to master the skill. So a student can just come up, or someone can come up to me and say, hey, Ronaldo, can I make money and be a millionaire in 3 months? Is it possible? Well, everything is possible if you put time into it. But don't expect that you're going to make money automatically. First, you have to prove to yourself, though, that you can do it. That's the most important part. 2, can you be consistent enough? 3, are you open enough for learning that if you are losing, what can you learn from that losing experience? Unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to learn. Why? Because they have a fixed mindset rather than a growth mindset. Another book that I highly recommend is called Mindset by Carol Dweck. She's based here in the Bay Area. I believe she's a professor at Stanford University. Wrote this cool book about mindset. She's a psychologist and defines about fixed and growth mindset and how schools these days really, like my daughter's school, they teach a lot of growth mindset, which is phenomenal. When I was growing up and learning, it's mainly more the fixed mindset, right? And hence that also has to change from a fixed to a growth. So you cannot compete at a world-class level if you're a novice. To be an elite, you need to prove to yourself that you can be consistent at club level. then state level, national level, then world-class level. The advantage of trading currencies is that I tell students to open up a $500 account. It's more than good enough. And the reason being is because you can have the ability to buy at a micro level, which can cost only up to 50 bucks. You can't do that when you're trading stocks. I would rather let the student lose 2 cents here, 5 cents there, $2 here, $10 there, rather than losing $100 here, $1,000 there. The next thing you know, they're losing 3/4 of their $25,000 minimum capital stated by the SEC, that you need a minimum of $25,000 you want to trade more than 3 times a week. That's a very expensive learning experience, and hence why a lot of people get discouraged to trade is because of that aspect. So you need a vehicle. If you know how to read price, it doesn't matter what I'll be trading, whether it will be trading a currency, an index, gold, oil, or even a real estate market. Chart is a chart, price is price. But the question is, what is that piece of information? Piece of information is very important to us, and we need to know that piece of information. Yes, unfortunately, insider information is illegal, but not illegal to institutions. Even if they get caught, no one goes to jail, and the reason they just pay the fine, basically. Okay? That's how the market basically operates. If you really want to succeed, then you need a coach, perhaps more than one coach. Our members, they're not just students. From day one, they become coaches. And the reason being is it's imperative. It's been proven that if you coach somebody or you teach somebody automatically and you're demonstrating what you learned, the retention rate of learning will increase by 95%. Why? Because you're using all your physiology. The coach will correct your technique. You will correct your own technique. Because once you start teaching others too, it becomes more of an aha moment. Hence the word walk the walk, talk the talk. So how can you then really prove and be consistent within yourself if you can't even explain it yourself? That's pure objectivity. That's what we need. You'll need a good support system. You'll remember you only see 180 degrees that's in front of you. If this is a human being, part of the peripheral vision, they only see the 180 degrees that's in front of them right there. They don't see what's missing behind here. Hence, that's why they only know what they know. So imagine if your brain can input enough pieces of information from what you see, hear, and feel, which is way faster than a normal computer, that creates a belief system. How do you know whether your belief systems are good for you or not? You don't. That's why a coach, regardless whatever business you're in, you need a coach to see your flaws, your weaknesses, your dark side. What are your fears? Mainly that. That causes you to hesitate when it's time to execute. Why do people get impulsive? Why do people get anxious? Okay, because of this mindset right there. Okay, moving forward. The tip is don't make the same mistake that the majority of people do who wants to trade, learn how to trade by themselves. In trading, you cannot succeed on your own. Okay. So if you trade on your own, here it is part of the summary of what we have discussed. You only see 180 degrees in front of you, hence the consistency of losing, no mentoring. You're just second guessing, then you're just gambling. Then hence the success rate of 50% or less. You're gonna create bad habits to have the instant gratification to make money. No trading partners. But if you're trading in a team environment, you achieve 360 degrees full out. You will win consistently, You'll have numerous coaches. You'll create excellent habits. You'll create good techniques, pure 100% objectivity. You'll be described as a professional gambler. Why? Because you know, if you can have that probability and you can calculate that risk. Once you have a calculated risk, you're an automatic professional gambler. You can then have numerous trading partners, which is very imperative, which is important. Okay, so results between them are very different. Okay, between someone who is new to the game, learning by themselves, compared to someone who is in a team environment. Alrighty, so here's a picture. This guy, Mark, is a friend of mine who is the head of business for a trading firm. He used to be a broker. And he's seen more than 10,000 retail traders trading stocks and options before they got bought out by TD Ameritrade. And they have a high frequency trading. Their exchange, their server is less than a kilometer away from the exchange. They have a success rate about 97 to 98% as well. But he stated himself, which is, like I said, it's not a myth, that 95 to 98% of stock traders, option traders lose money in the markets. And it's a big, big number. So even someone from the CME for futures stated 98%. This guy right here, I referred it to Mark. His character, and his brother, Jason, who's not in there. But nevertheless, they hired him, and very good trader. Yeah, they scalp basically the options world. They're very consistent. They make money on a weekly basis, more than they can basically that for them. Because I also teach a lot of graduates, because a lot of students couldn't get a job, so either their dads or moms or my private clients bring them to me, and then they teach them. Him, on the other hand, I met on through the meetup group, came to see me, him and his brothers, and bam, now he makes more money than a person who works actually at Google. Very, very good guy, very nice guy. This guy, James, engineer, entrepreneur, full-time trader, funded his own business through trading from myself, and two sisters. She's now taking her master's in nursing because that's what she wants to do. Makes money on the side, very consistent, and basically that's how she gets her allowance, through her trading. She moved to China and works for a hedge fund over there. Okay, so pretty cool. This is James's wife, and also trades. Retired in the military, trades now full time. Okay, so pretty cool. That's what we do. This actually, there's an old photo, there's a more recent photo, but nevertheless, it is imperative as a trader to know who you're dealing with, because like playing a horse, you don't know who's going to win over here, and not unless you know the statistics behind it. Likewise for playing basketball. Trading is simply like playing basketball. You cannot be part of the game, because if you're not a professional, the chances of you losing is highly probable. What do you want to be? If you want to place a bet, you want to be beside here. You need to be on the crowd. When you place a bet, how do you know whether the white team is better than the blue team? Statistics, numbers, data. Hence, this is what you need, the numbers. Right there on the bottom, the opening price, the high price, the low price, the closing price. Everything creates history. That's what technical analysis is all about, right? It is the study of price action using past and present price action to forecast future price action. The key with that word, and from my stated, is forecasting where the direction of trading or where it's going to be. So mind you, okay, where's my tool? If price will only go in 3 different directions, you already have a 33% success rate from the very beginning. This is even before you even execute. That's a high probability. Now, if you eliminate holding, then the 33% becomes now 50%. Either you buy or you sell. So you have a 50 to 60% deficit. This is what you need to find. Technical analysis by its own right on the system is not enough. Technical analysis, in my opinion, is only 33% on top of that. Probably even less. The rest is the macro fundamentals that adds in to the valuation of price of where the direction is going to be that creates supply and demand. Very important. So if you can have at least a minimum of 80% or greater probability of winning, then you can place a trade. Anything that is 60%, even 70% and below, I do not place a trade. Unless it's a test trade, then I'm only willing to put less, 1% or less risk, just to test it. Can it go within my direction? If so, then I will buy more. Then I will buy more and buy more. Similar to institutional trading, that's what they do. They cannot buy everything all at once, or they manipulate the price. Price creates, if it's hovering on the supply, they will keep selling until manipulation will happen. Boom, exit. Boom, exit. And then from here, they'll be buying, exit, sell, exit, exit, buying. Okay. All right. Moving forward from there. Any questions, by the way? So far, so good. Okay, cool. Likewise, for trading, you don't know who's going to win if you only have this piece of data. Some will say, well, there's a bullish engulfing. Some will say there's a head and shoulders. For me, it doesn't mean anything. They're good if you know the meaning behind it, on how it works, or how it operates. So this is a perfect example. If you're going to make a bet, which one would you put your money on? To this side, to the left side, or to the right side? Okay, I'll give you the answer, this side. This is institutional trading. Don't be on this side. See here, look at that, the bunch of people who want to learn how to trade, looking at charts, looking at something that is probably not even useful. Do they even see charts? They don't see charts. See, they see a buyer or seller, the amount they're willing to buy, see the numbers and the jackets that they're wearing. You know exactly who they are. They're brokers. Brokers for who? Institutions, hedge fund managers, trade their own money, having a minimum of 100K or 200K or even a million, right? So they're the ones who can see proper order flow. You cannot see proper order flow. So why would you be over here if the odds of you winning is very low? You don't want to do that. That's the norm. It might be harsh words, but please do not be part of the norm. You will lose. Be part of where out here to see what these guys are doing. Then you can make money. Okay. Alrighty, moving forward from that. Institutions versus retail traders. An institutional trader manages relatively large amounts of capital compared to most traders. Institutional traders will typically have larger positions and hold them for longer periods of time. When they trade, they often trade large numbers of shares at once. It's often said that institutional traders are the ones who really move the markets. They create the large sustained price changes. Most of the noise in the markets comes from day traders, trying to see what institutions are doing and acting accordingly. The remaining investors do not make a serious impact on the market. on the market. So who are the remaining investors? These are your remaining investors, your retail trader. Are individual investors who buy and sell securities for their personal account and not for another company or organization. We call ourselves observers. I call myself a professional observer. An observer is a type of retail trader who observes the movement of institutions to look for clues that institutions leave behind, to trade and be with institutions. They do leave trails. How do they leave trails? Through price. That's how they leave trails. So it is your job as a technical analyst to figure that out. If you don't know how to figure it out, then find a way to figure it out. You want to make money? That is the key to everything. Unfortunately, I am not willing as well to share all my secrets because that's my bread and butter. Very similar to institutional trading. They'll never give you their algorithm because that's their bread and butter, right? So there's always a price to everything. Price to knowledge, price to experience. In my opinion, you cannot put a price tag into experience. Yes, if you want to sell something, you have to put a price tag into something. But in order for something that would also work, the question is, how is that valuable to the other person? Well, it's all based on their own perception, right? So do not become a retail trader. That's also one of the tips. You will lose 9% of the time. Be an observer and always know the players of the game. Is trading gambling? Well, it all depends on the definition. According to dictionary.com, is to play a game in which you can win or lose money or possessions, to bet money or other valuable things, to risk losing an amount of money in a game or bet, to risk losing something valuable or important in order to do or achieve something. So in my opinion, everything is gambling. Everything has risks. Everything, there is no security. You cross the road, you're already gambling your own life if you don't follow the rules by pressing the traffic light. If you're driving, you're already gambling as well because there's no guarantees that the person next to you is going to hit you. So trading is gambling whether we like it or not. But it's only the definition whether you're going to be a non-professional gambler or professional gambler. Non-professional gamblers are the ones who create or make uneducated, high-risk decisions. They trade for fun, they do it as a hobby, and they want to make money fast. Okay, you don't want to be in this scenario. You want to be a professional gambler where you are classified to trade or business. The goal is to make money using educated risk. Everything has to be a calculated risk. Highly skilled and spend years being proficient. And since professional gamblers trade for money to have a steady income, they have developed a skill to be consistent rather than looking at it as a one-time jackpot event. Okay, so the question is, which one do you want to become? Well, to be consistent and profitable trader is you need to have a mindset of a professional gambler. In other words, everything has to have a calculated risk. Everything you see fit here has a calculated risk. And why do I say that? Let me share something with you. This trade was done by, we did this with one of my private clients early in the morning. And let me just close this for a second. And I'll open this one up. And we were just fortunate that there was a potential trade. And so we took the trade based on a live trading environment. He executed based on his demo for now because he hasn't opened up a trading account as yet. Basically, a private client. This is based in Malaysia. And this is my trading checklist that I created. And also because of the impact and the feedback from students, it's actually been added. There's actually no version number 9. Actually, it was version 8, but it's actually version number 9. So it's very detailed from the mindset to action steps of the macro fundamentals, the trading methodology, the risk management, money management, to define the probability, define the maximum risk, because it's in a retail price point, then the risk that I was willing to take based on the measurement of probability that we create is 3%. Here's the entry price and the stop loss. Here's the amount of position size. Position sizing is very important. And these are the base of the target price. Position size 150, potential profit right there. T1 has already been taken, waiting now for target number 2, target number 3 to be taken. This is the risk that I'm willing to take out of the capital that is in there. And then when it's finished, it's just simply to put in the actual numbers in there that will create the proper profit and loss. And then to rate the performance out of 10, and it will also calculate the rate of return part of the investment. So this is a step-by-step process that every trader will have to put in, and then they have to email it as well to me and basically their coaches, because this is where we see whether if they're following everything correctly. It's easy for me to spot if they're missing things or they're cheating. If they're cheating, then they're just cheating, they're being honest to themselves. And to be honest with you, if you miss one part of the equation, you will not make money. You follow every single step, you will definitely make money. And that's the process. So it's not just to do about a system. It has got to do from the mental game all the way to the risk management. Risk management is very important. So do you consider yourself a risk taker every time you put in a trade? So remember, every trade you put in will have some form of risk, as there is no guaranteed outcome. There are no certainties and guarantees you will make money each and every time you trade. Similar to competitive sports, there are no guarantees that you will win. To be part of the trading game, you will have to take a risk each and every time you're going to trade. Can you show your trade performance? Yes, Daniel. So for private clients, they have the ability, depending on basically the amount of money they do have, I do manage for them. So everything's all transparent. They don't give me the money, they open up their account, and I trade their accounts while they're learning. So they give a deposit for the education, and then basically once that has been put into place, the profits have been distributed on a monthly basis, and the performance will be dictated by there whether it works or not. So the goal is to make money on a monthly basis, and at one point their education becomes free, because these are meant for private clients, and to see the win-win situation. I believe no one basically can do that. Well, by law, I can go up to 15 basic clients in order for me to do so without having certification. So if you want me to do that, then you have to be a private client, and you will see definitely the performance, Daniel. Okay. Consistent profitable traders are risk takers. They know their risk. They take full responsibility of their risks and accepts the risk. Okay, do you really have what it takes to be a consistent profitable trader? There's a 10-3-1 formula. This is based on business and also statistics in retail, and also from my own experience, that if there's going to be 10 people in the room looking around, 3 will take, say, the education or will learn, 1 will be successful, and 1 will be consistent. It's a very interesting formula, and funny enough, that's how it works. If you have read Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers or even Blink, he will also tell you basically the same. So tip number 4 is about work ethic. Work ethic to be a consistent, profitable trader is simply, you'll need to know who you are as a trader, your purpose, and why you are a trader. You'll need to be meticulous, disciplined, and have a high level of integrity. You'll need hours of practice to do this. You will need passion and love for the game of trading. Practice is an important element. In my opinion, there's no easy way out. Backtesting is important, but you have to have that work ethic in order for it to work. Okay. Going through hobby versus business. Remember, if you want to make this as a hobby, can you do it? Yes, you can. But that would be my least recommendation. But if you want to do it as a business, can you do it part-time or full-time? Absolutely. Trading as a business will be based on your occupation. Do you trade part-time or full-time? You also need to know which vehicle. You're trading stocks, forex, futures, options. You will need to learn to trade professionally based on your occupation, the amount of money you have, your knowledge, your skill set, your experience. One of the major weakness if someone wants to learn is that they're willing to open up a $25,000 account, even 5,000, even 10,000 to trade with lack of experience. But they're not willing to invest not even $5,000 for their education. For me, I find that silly. They can lose $15,000 and they don't complain. They can lose $2,500 on the 5,000, lose $5,000 on the 10 grand. I had one client lost $500,000 in a 1.2 million trading account, but wasn't willing to pay for an education at the very beginning. For me, I just tell them, you know what? It's okay. It's just a learning experience, a very expensive tuition fee for your education. So for me, that doesn't equate. I would, if you're new to this game, Daniel or Diane, is for you to definitely invest into your education. And then from part of that, I'd rather you lose that $500, but imagine the amount of learning that you will learn from that $500 is massive. But the goal is not to lose that $500. Can you maintain $500? If you can maintain $500, then you can prove to yourself, then you can open up a $5,000 account and you can maintain that easy. Then you go to $50,000, minimum 25. If you can do that, even 10, then there's just extra income for you. Family status. If you're single, then you have no excuse for learning full-time. Married with no kids, no excuse with learning full-time. Married with kids, at least there is an excuse that you can learn part-time. Okay, so those are things from what I've seen. The summary is, once you know your intention, put all your focus, determination, passion, commitment, and motivation, take massive action to get educated properly. Number 2 is about preparation. Once you know your intent, then you have to prepare. Prepare to be an Olympian. Prepare to be a world champion. So the preparation, though, of being a world champion, or being an Olympian, starts from training. So when people come to me, automatically, I want them to change their mindset to be an Olympian or to be a world champion. And the reason being, if they have in that mindset, then they have the full trust, belief, and confidence within themselves. Hence, we have Trading Psychology 101 that can actually assist them. To prepare, there's 3 parts of the conditioning process of what we teach. To be in what we call, to be in the zone. To be in a peak performance state, you need to be in sync in all 3 different levels. Mental game, body conditioning, mental conditioning, body conditioning, technical conditioning. When you all have all those 3, then you're now in unison with all the 3 dynamics. Then this is where you can be in what we call being in a zone. Then you're now unstoppable. The mind-body continuum has to go hand in hand. If you're not well rested, the brain cannot function. If you don't eat right, the brain cannot function. If the brain cannot function, then how can you execute your trade? You can't. This is a lot of retailers only focus on technical analysis. Bad mistake, right? And the reason is because they just don't know what they don't know. So to prepare prior to trading, you need to prepare yourself mentally. Do you meditate? Technically, how often do you practice? Physically, how often do you hydrate yourself? Do you eat right? Do you go to the gym? So um, trading firms, I implemented as well in our class, is that when they join, they need to get a gym membership. Why? Because as part of that is they need to, if they're overweight, then you need to lose that weight because it will affect your focus. If you're not eating right, then we have pieces of information how to eat right. You don't sleep right. There's already articles. A friend of mine is a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and he said to me, right, you need definitely 8 hours of rest, of sleep. The brain won't function without 8 hours minimum. And I said, then my brain is not working properly then because I don't sleep 8 hours all in one go. So now I just implemented going to bed a little bit more earlier and at least have that 7 to 8 hours sleep. Okay, so really important from there. To prepare mentally, it is imperative to know the inner game of trading, knowing who you are, what your belief systems are, your values that support your trading success, and your emotional needs. Also, it is imperative to profile your own self, and we do this as part of our training programs. And the reason being is that everybody's the same. Everybody's different. Some will be momentum traders, some will be scalpers, some will be day traders, some will be swing traders, some will be position traders. Based on what we call conscientiousness, whether you're the type of person who's responsible, who likes structure, neuroticism, whether you're the type of person who can handle your own emotions or cannot handle your own emotions. And last is based on your risk, whether you're risk averse, excuse me, or a risk taker. Also, you need to know whether if you are addicted by nature or you're a type of person who will make money, okay, to trade to make money. You'll need to know your purpose as a trader, your vision, your mission as a trader, okay, to prepare mentally. Okay, so we have Trading Psychology 101, and part of that is an 8-week course that will help you identify your belief system, your value systems, your emotional needs, your habits. And it's an important subject, it's an important course because it builds the mental foundation to successful trading through self-awareness. Okay, to prepare technically, it is important to know 3 things. Number 1 is price action, the 3rd dimension of technical analysis, the energy flow of price, and how to determine the speed of price. Okay, and how to forecast future price movement. Also, it's important to know to determine your probability of winning with low risk, high probability trades, how to determine your risk, how to determine money management, and how to determine where to exit. So for example, for the foundation for beginners should really have these 4 fundamentals. One's about price, about the macros, knowing the macro fundamentals, the energy flow of price, and supply and demand. This creates the foundation of a student based on their own technical analysis. When they get into the intermediate, it becomes easier to learn the methodologies. To prepare spiritually is simply through a meditation to control your emotions, your fear, your greed, your anger, to be patient, to be abundant, right? To be focused, to be motivated, and to be intuitive. So for example, Trading Psychology 202 is a course for intermediate and advanced traders where they will learn visualization techniques, meditation techniques, and coaching skills. To prepare physically is through eating healthy, to be hydrated, to be well rested, and to exercise on a daily basis. So balance is an important element. This quote actually by Ellen Williams from the book Intuitive Traders stated the best traders condition themselves psychologically and physically for success. They have running programs, they go to the gym, they meditate, and they're careful about what they eat. In short, they take excellent care of themselves. Okay, lastly, Here's about the development of a trading methodology. First, the methodology needs to be objective in entries and exits, risk management, money management, where tops and bottoms are possible to get in. And then for intermediate level, for example, for us, we have two different methods for the intermediate. We call method number 2, method 3, and we call the ESMS pattern recognition method, and the two into a no-brainer method. Remember that all methods are not created equal and they have their own purpose. So the goal is to be consistent, profitable traders in all hierarchies of trading. Number 3, the third step is to practice. Once you know your intent, that's the first step. Number 2 is preparation. Number 3 is about practice. And to backtest the methodology that you're learning in real time and to demonstrate while you're testing. So in our live trading classes, we practice basically every day. And we find potential trades as part of those. Either a student will execute it in a demo or in a real time, but once they get to a certain level, they have to trade in real time. Okay. Number 4 is about competing. Competing for us, it means that you're now trading in real money, a small amount, by opening up an account that is basically $500 at the very beginning. Can you maintain consistency at a club level, which is a micro account? Once you show consistency, then you're now trading in a national level between $5,000 to $10,000. And then you go to a world-class level, you have a minimum of 25,000 and beyond. Okay, then through there, this is where the money is actually. So one of the major tips is simply not to take things personally if you lose. It just simply means that you need to improve or adjust your trading technique. Get coaching and your coach will assist you in that area. Know the tips of the trading methods. And hence also to keep on working your trading strategy or your trading psychology and adjust your trading style if need be. Last but not the least, in terms of the step, is to repeat the process. So if the process that you have created works and it's making you money consistently, refrain from tampering it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Visualize the same process of success over and over again. Be meticulous, be disciplined, be humble, and be aware of euphoria. So to summarize, as you can see, there is a tremendous amount of work involved in becoming a successful, consistent, profitable trader. It is simple, yet there has to be some form of sacrifice. For most people, this would represent too much hard work. If you're one of these many people, then I highly recommend not to trade. On the other hand, for those willing to put in the effort, it presents a clearly defined path towards success. So, where to from here? Well, there's 3 phases to successful trading here. We have a beginner level, intermediate, and advanced level. The first one is a self-learning program. These are based for people who work full-time or even study full-time, who has commitments with families, but they still want to learn. And then there's the class-based program, someone who has about an hour or 2 hours a day that's free. They come into the classroom-based setting through via video conferencing. There's a timetable for the classes, either morning or nighttime. And then there's a private mentoring, where now it's based on their time. And these are for people who wants to have what we call the express pass, and they want to be a full-time trader. The question is how. And sometimes they don't want to be part of the group, they just want one-on-one. And then for the private mentoring, you have people have the ability to be part of what I call the Millionaire Money Club. Like I said, they open up their own account and then basically we trade it basically as a group, basically between me and the student, and then we split basically the funds. There's unlimited support in the program, unlimited feedback. Every member will be part of the trading community that has the same mission to make money consistently from trading. And then they'll be part of trade alerts and the money club, depending on the program where they're at. So this is it basically in terms of the 5 simple steps in trading. So the first step is the intention. Know your intent. 2 is to prepare. Okay, the part of your planning and preparation. 3 is practice. Then you're going to compete from what you learned in terms of your knowledge, and then repeat the same process. Diane, how you doing? I know you came a little bit more later, and the other 2 or 3 already basically got knocked out. Some of them said they have to leave for work, have to go home. So Diane, do you have any questions? Diane, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer basically from here, part of Q&A. Does it make sense? What do you trade, Diane? What challenges are you currently facing when it comes to your own trading? If you can hear me. Hello, Diane. Hello, are you there? Okay, so other than that, then no questions. Shimon, thank you very much for coming and for coming in to listen to what I have to say. Hope to see you guys tomorrow in our class. We have a market update prior to the FOMC report. Till next time, have a good one. See you then.